Okay, so the 24th, if you're in my even classes, if you're in my odd classes, we went over 2.1 and 2.2 on the 23rd. So today, if you're in my odd classes, we will be working on 2.3. So 0, 4, 25 for my odd classes. If you're in my even class, you are working, today's date is 0, 4, 26. Okay. The older date that's on here, I think was right before break, which was on the 10th. So if you're in my even classes, these dates should line up for you. If you're in my odd classes, sorry, if you're in my odd classes, these dates will line up for you. Okay. If you're in my odd classes, sorry, even classes, you just add one date to it. So this is the odd day classes, 25. All right. Your homework today is 0, 4, 25, additional practice, and AFQ 2.3. Your homework is page 70, and that's due on Monday, the 29th, 4/29. And the homework from yesterday, or last class, was additional practice. Yeah, additional practice and AFQ 2.2. This is page 63 to 65. Do 0, 4, 25. Right, so those are all the updated dates for you guys. It should look like that. Right, so we're going to jump right into it. I'll review anything that needs to be reviewed when you guys come back. Your primary goal, actually, let me go back up to the top a little bit. I'm going to add this to your homework, and this one doesn't have a date. This one's going to be ongoing. Collect data for project. Okay, your data should be ready in about a week. I have so next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have a day planned out with computers for us to go through your data. So collect your data for your project. Okay, all right. Jumping into it, we're gonna go right into 2.3, and I'm gonna use a random number generator. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna use a random number generator to go through this. So we are on page 34. We're on page 34. Today is 0, 4, 25, 19 for my odd classes, 26 for my even classes. Okay, so it says choosing a random sample, comparing samples, and using center and spread. How can you use statistics of a random sample to make predictions about an entire population? So right here, there is our population. Okay, this whole set here is going to be representing our population. Okay, now this is a little bit of a small population of only 100 students. That's a pretty small group, but it's a smaller school. So we are actually going to get a sample of this, and we're going to see if it represents the whole. So we're going to pick a few of them. We're going to pick 30 of this group, and that 30 is going to represent our sample. Okay. And we're only going to do one of the pieces of data. We're not going to do both because it does take a really long time to do them both. Okay. Right, so it says select a random sample of 30 students from your table. Okay, this is the table. Okay, not the table at which you sit at. Okay, your sample should include 30 different students. Okay, keyword there is different students. So if you get a duplicate student number, you should re-spin or re-roll. Okay, for each student in your sample, record the number of hours spent and the number of movies watched. Okay, so we're only going to do one of them. We're going to do hours slept because I've always done the movies and it's kind of weird. So we're going to do hours slept instead. Okay, we're going to ignore this last column because it just takes too long to do both of them because it does require lots of calculations. So I'm going to X this section out. and we're going to do hours slept, not number of movies watched. Okay, so I'm going to X this out for now. You don't have to X yours out if you don't want to, but I just don't want to get distracted by that. All right. So I'm going to roll for student numbers. I'm only filling out this section right here, right now. Just this column here. Okay, I'm filling out all my student numbers. I need 30 of them. Okay, 30 student numbers. I have 15 in each section. So on the left I have 15, on the right I have 15. Okay, so I'm going to fill out that section, and I'm going to fill out this section. So because I can't put a spinner on here and you won't be able to see it, I'm going to use a random number generator. You don't need 2 spinners. You only really need 1. So you're going to place the spinner right on top of here. It's a clear piece of plastic. You're going to put it right over your spinner. Okay, you'll have a little arrow here. Okay, there's a little arrow that looks like this. Okay, and you will flick this way and it'll spin around. You're going to spin it twice and you get a number. Okay, so let's say I spin it and I get the number 2, I get to spin it again, I get the number 7. Now I'm student number 27. You need a 2-digit number each time. Okay, now if there's not enough spinners to share, actually there isn't enough spinners to share, there are 10-sided dice. Get 1 die, 1 numbered cube, and roll it. Each time you roll it, that's a number, and you record 2 numbers. Okay. Again, I don't have the recording capabilities of that on how I'm recording it right now. So I'm going to use a random number generator, and I'm going to record my student numbers. So just a second. Okay, so since I don't have a dice or a spinner, I'm going to just use a random number generator. It says 80, and then I'll hit generate. I'll get another number, 91, and 5. So when I go back to my spinner here, okay, what you notice is I had 80, 91, and 5 were my first 3 numbers. So I'm going to use this one here, and I'm going to write my student numbers 80, 91, and 5. And then I'll keep going until I fill this all out. Okay, so again, I'm using the random number generator. You're using either the dice or the spinner instead. So here are my 30 student numbers. I'll look them over briefly. I don't see any doubles. I had a couple of doubles earlier, but I didn't count them, so I didn't want to count the data point more than once. I do have 1 double right here, 96. It showed up twice. So let's do this one more time. Generate, and I got 34. That looks good. 34 over here. 34. There we go. All right. Now with these numbers, what I'm going to do is I am going to look at my values over here and record the hours slept. Okay. So my first student on here was student number 80. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for student number 80 over here. Here's student number 80, and he slept for 6.5 hours. Okay, he slept for 6.5 hours. All right, so I'm going to record that down here. 6.5 hours. So 6.5 hours. And I'm going to do that for all of my data points. I'm going to record the number of hours slept for each person. Okay, so he slept 6.5 hours. Okay, let me go ahead and start doing that. I'm going to pause the video and go ahead and get to work. All right, so I looked up all my hours slept for my number of students. So I have student number and the hours slept. I am now going to start calculating my hours slept. And I'm going to be looking for my MAD, my mean, etc. And then I'm going to write it down here. You're probably, actually I'm pretty sure you're not going to have enough space to do it here. So you're going to have to do this on a separate sheet of paper. You can turn to the back. I have a piece of scratch paper in front of me. I'll do it there. And I'm going to start plotting them once I find my mean and my MAD. So I'm going to find my mean and my MAD first of the purple numbers here. So the purple numbers, my mean and MAD. You should do the same. I'm going to pause the video and do a lot of work. Even just recording those numbers took me a good amount of time. So this should take you some time to get this work done.